Hey, hey, ho, ho! Me and Eggy have got to go review some manga! What's up, folks? Hey, you already know the deal. Anybody can pay us $100 to review anything, and for the third time, our dear friend at Twitch, Zebazian, wants us to read on through the I'm Dying for Your Virginity manga, and I believe there are 7 total volumes. Today we're covering Volume 3. And Eggy, it's been about 4 or 5 months. Were you excited to dive back into the world of Toru and Mika?
Oh yeah, so for the audience to know this, I felt like last time it was a little disjointed, like I was having memory troubles. I was like trying to pick the pieces back up. So for this instance, I reread, and I'm hoping we agreed on this because it's 7 volumes of 63 chapters total. So I think we were doing, 9 chapters per volume. That's what I went through. So I've read through chapter 27.
Eggy, all I know is that MangaFire.2 gives you the option to read by volume, so I didn't even have chapter numbers. It just told me this was volume 3, and I read about 192 pages. So did yours end with the guy with the baseball bat about to kill our dear friend Toru for the 80th time?
That is correct.
Okay, so we read the same thing.
And it did track, because I think I remembered. So anyways, but for the audience, I reread from page 1 through so I reread like 190 pages last night just to make sure that I remembered what I needed to.
Well, Eggy, we have not we posted the volume 2 review in July, so I'm guessing most, if not everybody, has forgot what the hell we're talking about, as well as I did. So if you want to give a recap on those 2 volumes for everybody, that would be delightful.
Sure. So basically the premise of this story is there's an obese man in his 30s. He never got no play, and he finally married the woman he always had a crush on. And she seems very faithful to him, very committed. There's really nothing that on the surface that's bad. But he knew she had a reputation. She had been with a lot of guys before him. He's thinking, oh, she settled for me. She doesn't really love me. I'm a obese freak, and he looks much uglier. Like he's drawn like in a way that compared to everybody else that makes him really exemplifies that.
Probably the ugliest main character of any manga I've read, other than maybe like Kaiji. But even he's not like obese and scary.
Yeah, this guy's he's pretty freaky. So he's got a complex about it, and he's like, oh, I would die to be your first, if there's just some way. And basically in the first volume, he basically does die, and he goes through a few reincarnations, where he's back in his junior high self. I think he's like 8th grade or something, trying to figure out how can I set the pieces in place to make everything work out to my advantage.
It's kind of like that movie, The Butterfly Effect, where when you perform a certain thing that activates this time travel magic, your adult mind is now in your child body, reliving those days.
Mm-hmm. Which, as we mentioned at the time, was a little strange that this is a man who's like, 32 or whatever now. And he's like still fantasizing when he sees this 14-year-old girl, like, oh man, what do I do to have sex with her? So in the first volume, he dies multiple times, but he's just about getting it right. And I think at the end of that first volume, everything's perfect, but it ends up that he got caught with another girl, and he couldn't figure out what happened. Like, oh, why would I ever do this? Everything's perfect. It's just, we were each other's first time, but I cheated on her for some girl I don't even know. I don't know what happened. And the second volume then is very much about, we learn about this girl. He never knew her before, but after so many resets and retries, what happens is that this is actually one of his future wife, Mika. Her friend is about to kill herself, she's jumping off a bridge trying to break her leg so she doesn't have to go to school because she's getting bullied. He saves her, and then that basically links them together in a way that that's how he ends up meeting her. But there's still this looming thing. Oh, why did I take this picture with this woman? In this picture where she's like got her tits out and he's like laying there, it's looking like sexual, like he was having an affair, which ruined his perfect future that he was finally getting. And what it turns out in volume 2, we find that this girl, who I don't immediately remember her name, but the girl that he was alleged to have the affair with, she felt she was being stalked. She thought that it was Toru that was stalking her. So She like saw him like in a dark room because he was like sleeping or something, and took a picture with him, thinking that it was like the staked out hoodlum that had been stalking her. And
that seems a little bit convoluted at that point.
And this is what made it so, I think, really made it so difficult, because you almost, it did seem ridiculous. I mean, it didn't seem like it fit in just the context of the volume by itself when we were reading it. When I'm coming back and I'm reading 1, 2, and 3, it's actually really beneficial how it plays out, because then in the second half of volume 2, it's all about this whole thing where, I'm going to try, really hard to keep the future I want. So it's like a whole Valentine's Day subplot. She makes this candy, but I need her to make me like the special Valentine's chocolate. It's like the engagement ring of the age group, basically, whatever. Like, she makes you the special chocolate, then you're like her special love for life. And she makes all this candy, she gives it to everybody, and he thinks, she really is going to give it up to everybody. That's who she is. The bitch, da-da-da. But then she gives him like the special cookie, and I think the last panel of volume 2 is like the masked man or the hooded guy holding onto the bags, which that's why we thought at that time, was this him from the future or something, that how else did he have the candy? I'm not even sure exactly if that was answered super well in volume 3.
No, there's still no answer who the mysterious hooded attacking man is.
But it does start to tie it back a little bit together, because we come to find out, and I believe we just find this now in volume 3, the whole Valentine's Day subplot was necessary because this hooded man, he gathered up the candy wrappers of like the candies that she gave to him, whether these were from a different timeline, which we get into the fact that there's like 4,000 minimum timelines going on right now. We get a number thrown around here in this volume. But by collecting these wrappers and then attaching it, he also has been following the girl around and taking creep shots of her from like a distance. He bundles all this together, mails it to her with a letter saying, I would die for your virginity. So then our hero Toru, basically, we'll start here in volume 3 with this conflict going on. He feels that he's being set up, but it would be maybe a little bit defensible. But the problem is, since he keeps coming back and fixing everything over and over again, he's got to this point where, like, when he comes back, he knows everything that's going to happen. He's putting himself in every position that he needs to be. He's showing up to all these unknowable events at the perfect second, because he's already been through them before, and so he knows what he needs to do in order to try and get this future he wants. And all the people are like, hey, well, you say you're not stalking her. How do you know like everything about all of us, and you're instantly knowing everything, and like the perfect thing to do, you're like basically like Matrix flipping and spinning and catching everything and touching, like how, if you're not stalking us behind our backs, like how are you even knowing all this stuff? It doesn't make any sense. So then we find him starting this volume on the back foot, being like, oh yeah, I guess I don't really know. Can't tell you.
Yeah, I like that the mechanics of time traveling is being used for character stuff here, where he can't explain how he knows what he knows, because they think he's just a crazy liar if he said it was time travel. But with no other excuse, all evidence is pointing that he truly is this creepy stalker to his poor future wife. And this volume 3 here was very much straightforward compared to volumes 1 and 2, because there's constant time traveling and going into new timelines back and forth. Though every other chapter, the motherfucker's finding a new way to kill himself and then change again. And this one, we really stay in the same place, and then he dies once, and then we stay in that place. And it made the storytelling flow very well, and I actually understood what the hell I'm supposed to be getting out of this story this time around.
Yeah, that's like, okay, we set up the premise in the first volume. I guess it's understandable enough. I think maybe, I feel like some could have got cut off in the first volume with like when he ends up with the one girl that's not Mika, and it's just like her friend. I don't know if we really needed that, because it seems like it's been, the relevance hasn't been super significant. I think really, I don't know if it was completely necessary. And then I guess we needed the whole thing with the girl with the mole, and I've saved her life. We're defending her. She's getting bullied, because then there's this guy who basically Toru stops his bullying, and then we get in volume 3 here that ends up coming back around because of what he stood up to the bullying or whatever, and that like gives him some credibility. It's really just the women in the friend circle here who are all very saying, oh, there's no way. But his friend, the track team captain, who he did a solid, got his girl back, and then the other guy, he helped clear up this bullying miscommunication or helped him change his ways or whatever. So both these guys are at least on his side to start with. So it's like, yeah, okay, this kind of comes back, but I don't know. It does seem a bit when you're taking it volume by volume. There's a lot of things I think you have to tie together yourself. It doesn't really make it easy to really grasp in the beginning here. But Volume 3 is a market improvement, I agree.
I think maybe the author figured out what he wants the story to be. In Volume 2, when the character's motivations make absolutely no sense, like, oh, I think this guy's stalking me, so I'm going to take a sexy selfie with him to frame him or something. Just complete nonsense, makes no sense. Here we have, it's pretty basic. There's a mysterious man stalking my girl, and he's framing me to look like a freak. And he's leaving notes that say the exact same things I've been thinking. I would die to have her first time. Which leads us to believe, oh, well, if this guy has to also have time travel powers if he knows where Toru is all the time, and he's fucking with him so much. Which is why I jumped to the idea that it's just a future Toru. Maybe the life didn't go so well doing all this time travel shenanigans, and he's like a broken version of the future, and he decided even other versions of him can't have the girl. I don't know. We still don't know the answer here. And there's actually 2 hooded men in this volume just to keep us on our toes.
Yeah, it's and so I get too ahead of myself here, but I guess we could kind of spoke on it a little bit here. So there's the first third of the volume or so is the candy wrappers and this letter and the creep shots.
Well, you're going way too quick, Eggy. Let's slow it down. We're 10 minutes into an hour podcast, and I think you've recapped the entire volume. So let's break it down a little bit slower here, because I enjoy these opening pages where it's very much straight from the mind of Elliot Rodger. It's a single man who he's on Valentine's Day, and everywhere he looks, he sees happy couples, and he's just envisioning in his brain all these high school couples fucking, explicitly fucking, and it's just torturing him, and he's literally seething with rage. Which, like, what other main character has this level of incel animosity and hatred?
Well, and it's so interesting because, it's like, you would think that we've ran through enough scenarios already. I mean, he basically was just like fucking multiple hot chicks. He's like going through all these. So you would think, it would lead to some kind of satisfaction, some kind of mental maturity, but I guess maybe not so much. Maybe it's already so ingrained as the whole purpose of the series was from the beginning, that he's willing to die to, be that number one. But yeah, the 2 panels in particular, the one where he's like gnashing his teeth and just covered in sweat, his eyes are like bulging out with veins. That was very funny. I screenshotted that one immediately as soon as I saw it. But then there's another panel in the same chapter here where he's like calculating in his mind these like multiple choice percentages of why like her face looked a certain way for 1 split second. He said the options were: she's embarrassed when she was seen talking to her boyfriend. She averted her eyes because it's awkward. My face was weird when she's interested in me. And the interested in me is 3%. My face was weird is 18%. And the other, more like possibly agreeable answers are these high percentages. So just very, I've definitely been in this position before. Like you're walking down the hallway at school. The one girl kind of looks at you some type of way, and you just think about it for the next, maybe 3 to 5 years. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, was I supposed to hold frame? Was I supposed to start mewing? Was I supposed to spray some hairline spray on? Like, oh my fucking God, come on!
What's the opposite of progress, Eggy? Other than Congress, of course, but But like, this character is like devolving before my eyes. Again, like, hasn't he been through enough in the first 2 volumes that? Why is he still seething with rage when he sees Mika chatting with the 4 boys from the tennis club? Doesn't he have evidence that he keeps remembering adult married to him, Mika, saying, I would choose you over and over again in any lifetime. Why is that not enough? Why is he, like, his character is incapable of growth?
Well, I mean, I think he is just, a
fucking freak.
I don't know if it makes... I feel like, I guess because maybe he settled in the one timeline with the chocolates for a minute, maybe it kind of like, he was getting some rolls of the dice by dying and coming back again, so maybe he's been kind of in this existence now for a minute, and he's starting to kind of get into a certain kind of mindset, like, he's not achieving the perfection that he wants. He's very tunnel vision about that.
I don't see him going to the gym to shed some weight. I don't see him, maybe I'll go on a celery diet. That'll make Mika like me. No, he goes in the classroom and sees the 4 guys from the tennis club chatting with her, and he just seething with rage. And then he's sitting alone, I guess like in the study hall or in the computer hall. She comes up to him. Eventually in the scene, she's asking him out on a date. But before that happens, they're sitting together in complete, total awkward silence for 30 minutes. Bro, like, you were married to this woman and you have nothing to say to her. The only thoughts on your mind are, I need to get the courage to ask her out on a date. Why? Why do you want to go on a date with her? You're with her right now and you can't speak. If you have nothing in common to talk about, why do you even want to be with this woman?
That's true. I mean,
if I was married to somebody and then I had nothing to say to them for 30 straight minutes, maybe find a new woman.
Well, I mean, let's think. I mean, he's here. I guess he already knows that he can go to new futures based, even with where we're at in this chapter, because other things happen later in the volume. But we've seen him go back to be with her friend. That chick was she was a fine piece. She had a nice personality, so she's a little aggressive or whatever. Hey, he might need that. He looks like he's probably a little bit too passive. He's been passing the plates into his mouth a little too much, you know what I'm saying? So he needs somebody to maybe call the shots with the belt a little bit.
While they're sitting in awkward silence, she is like tearing up her candy wrappers. And I don't know if this is true, Eggy, but back in the day when I would drink like a 20-ounce bottle of Coke and I would rip off the plastic lining wrapper and crumple it up, somebody tried to tell me that's a sign of a sexual frustration. And that stuck with me. Is that what Mika, what's her name? Is that what she's doing here when she's playing with crumpling up and ripping up plastic wrappers?
Well, see, I would do that because there was at some point, like Pepsi had special website codes back in like 2002 that was underneath the plastic of the bottles. So I don't know. I just got in the habit of always tearing the plastic off my bottles because I wanted to see if there was anything secret under there. And
Eggy, of course, is not sexually frustrated. He gets his rocks off when and where he wants.
Yeah, we just watched an episode of Law & Order this morning with Ethan Slater because we've been taking Ethan Slater lately. Oh, you haven't seen that one?
SpongeBob guy?
Yeah, he's in the 4chan Law & Order episode. He's the leader of the incels.
Is that when Justin Bieber gets shot, or is that a different episode?
No, he's like, it's the episode where he says that women, the Constitution only says men and not women, so women are automatically his property if he wants them. And he's like the leader of the incel, like it's like an incel Discord server that's like taking over the world, and he is like ruling it or something.
When did this come out?
2020, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's season 20. I thought I saw it saying 2020. So I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, because it came out. Season 1 was 99, so it's either 2019 or 2020. They talk about Alec Manassian in it, so it had to be after 2018 anyway. Do
you think Toru would relate to this Ethan Slater character with all of his relationship seething?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. If we're talking about a relapse here, this chapter, and I don't know, I mean, because it doesn't seem like it makes sense, and I don't know if we really get anything in this volume that justifies it necessarily. But I guess that's my best guess is that, he's back in his environment a little too much. He's kind of maybe getting some old pangs. He's losing the security. I mean, he didn't even have the security because he was insecure from the very beginning, but at least he was there. And now the future that he ran from is not even certain anymore. In fact, it's almost certainly uncertain. Like something's got to change at this point because there's so much that's been changing in the past. So I feel like maybe he's finding, I'm reading into this maybe more than what he's giving me to read into, but just he's been sitting here, he's not dying, he's just falling into old patterns, and he's losing what he feels like was within his reach maybe at a point. And I think maybe that's lending into his frustration. And so when we see him behaving like this, it's sort of just like not even anxiety or something towards her necessarily, but even just like angry at himself, like, damn, what my next move is. I'm gonna screw something up again, and I gotta start again. And we do find, even though that this isn't given to us to necessarily take away as a sure thing, I feel like then when we find out a little bit later in the volume that there's a lot of repetition going on here, that there might be a legitimate concern on his behalf. That it's like you're sitting there, you gotta those games like in WarioWare or whatever, where you gotta press the A button and like the 1 millisecond where the thing turns red, it's green all the time. When it turns red, you gotta press the button. It's just like that frustration that's there. That's like, I can do this, but you're not. And as soon as you press that button, you're locked in. You're gonna be right or wrong. And there's a big chance you're gonna be wrong and not right anymore. And it's like a mental thing. That's just what I'm taking from this. Even if it's not being given to me, I'm putting myself in his very large shoes and pants and belt size.
So after the 30 minutes of saying nothing awkwardly, she gets the courage to ask him to go see a movie. And is this a good move? To pretend that you're open for anything, that you have no distinct personality? Because he's like, oh yeah, I'll watch any movie, anything you want. Was she hoping he would make a suggestion here? Is that what women want, or does she want to choose the movie?
Yeah, he's definitely playing it very wrong here. Like, you got to play it cool. I mean, that's one thing about it. There was guys who I knew, they call what you might call a gym cell. Who were like, and Tori doesn't even have that going for him. No. But, guys who would, they'd go to the gym every day and they dress such a particular way, and they're like, looking at themselves in the mirror, making sure they look good, perfect, but very nervous and very insecure all the same. So a woman approaches them and they're like, oh, and all of a sudden they're just like breaking down like somebody, they've been waiting for somebody to talk to them their entire life. It's like, what's going to go into their mind? Okay, this guy's obviously like cut off from the world, and there's probably a reason for that. So immediately, like, they're going on guard. Like, okay, so meanwhile, like, if you're just playing it cool, like, oh yeah, I talk to 100 people every day, it's nothing. You're like, oh hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh yeah, it sounds like fun. Just keeping it real chill and keeping it real normal. That's what you need to do, and that's what's going to get you in a better position. Which Toru, I mean, it's going to play out how it plays out in the manga, but I would not recommend his approach.
Well, she still seemed down for it, and she's very excited for it, but on her way home from making this date, she does get stalked by the hooded man who's taking all these creep shots of her and collecting her, I guess, candy wrappers out of the trash. And like we were saying earlier, he makes all this into a package and gives it to her, I think that very night or the next day as she's getting ready for the date and choosing what to wear. Meanwhile, did we establish this in the first 2 volumes that Toru, as a teenage with adult brain, is just like back with his parents and hanging out with them? Did we see them in the other volumes?
I don't believe so, and I think it's kind of put as much in this volume that it kind of describes like what his process is mentally, like when he's like, oh yeah, like I'm an adult, like what,
Well, his mom was saying like, what? Something about you just seems so different. You're making your own choices. You seem so adult all of a sudden. And he's like, well, yeah, no shit. I'm fucking 34 in my brain right now.
Right. Yeah, I don't believe we saw them at all in the previous volumes.
That's an odd thing to just throw on us, but I guess he's living with his parents because he's in middle school or whatever. And his mom wants him to wear like a full tuxedo to this movie date. Is the mom trying to sabotage him?
I think it does possibly trend, and this might also just be an anecdote of mine and not necessarily something I should be reading from the material, but with the tuxedo, maybe I should. Yeah, I feel like if a guy has a tendency to be overthinking and overly anxious about these sorts of interactions, it might possibly be spawning from the sort of unhealthy, like high volume kind of relationship with his mother, where it's just like, oh, what am I going to wear today? Oh, she's got to fall to her knees on the ground. Oh, you have to wear this. Oh, just like going so over the top about everything, not being casual, not being comfortable, not being just like normal.
Yeah, doesn't the girl like you for who you are and what you choose to wear? You're really trying to impress her by being something you're not, wearing this big old tux. So I'm glad he made the decision to just wear like a sweater.
That's right. And once again, another great panel there in chapter 20. He's just like this joyous, whimsical, like what do you call it? Like frolicking through the lane. It's a real great contrast when we saw him, like his eyes bulging out of his head, and now everything's going the way that he wants, and he's just got this nice joyous nature to him.
But she she gets this package and tells her friends, and while he's on his way to the date to pick her up, he's confronted by this group of Mika's friends saying, hey, turns out we think you're a creepy fucking stalker, and your time travel shenanigans are the only explanation for how you know all this information, but you can't tell us, so you're basically screwed. And there's a question here. Are you a hero who saves people when they're in trouble, or just a creepy psycho freak? And I think this might be extremely important dialogue, because it's the story of a man who is both, who hopefully by the end will only be one. And I wonder if he started off as a creepy psycho freak, and now he's growing into the heroic role, making heroic sacrifices through time travel and helping people's relationships. But he's still a creepy psycho freak, Eggy. In the next 4 volumes, will he continue to decrease in one and increase in the other?
You know, it's very hard to say, and we get, at the beginning of this chapter here, he's having his little relapse. We'll get a little bit further in the volume here. He's kind of still exhibiting. He gets sort of an opportunity to just
to let her have a happy life with another man and let it all go, and he just can't do it.
So it really makes you wonder, because so far, I mean, although he's continued to hold on to this part of himself, he still has, at least in this particular timeline, which seems to be fairly consistent to a point, except that in this volume, things change up a little bit, and then we get a glimpse into some of these other timelines. But at least the timeline that we've been following, he's keeping people from breaking their legs. He's getting couples that had problems back together. He's, stopping this bullying. He's been playing a role that is bettering, although it is in furtherance of his own selfish reasons. But, I mean, if consistently, for the most part, his future wife has still been, wanting something to do with him, I mean, it was trending in a direction that I could say, this is all right. Yeah, maybe but at the end of the day, we're not all perfect. I think there was enough betterment that he was bringing in, even if it was for his own selfish reasons. At the end of the day, I felt like overall it was a positive. But as far as where we're at right now, like at the beginning of the chapter here, I think at the beginning of the volume,
should we make predictions in the final volume? He will finally make the ultimate selfless love sacrifice. With he gets over all of it, and then it'll work out in the end anyway.
I mean, I think it would be certainly preferable to everything he's been going through. Like, if he could have just got over it in the first place and just been like, okay, I mean, this is an advantageous situation for me that, we both made our mistakes in life, and, but we're here now, and we're going to have the future that we want from here on out. I mean, 30's not that old, they're 31 or whatever. So, like, he had the wheels were turning. It could have been okay. All this stuff he's getting himself into is all just, part of...
Well, let's get to the plan here, because he tries to convince Mika and the friends, no, it's not me, somebody else is stalking you and framing me, because he's jealous, and we can use that jealousy to our advantage, Mika. Just come with me late at night at the park. We'll walk holding hands in the dark, go around the trail, and probably the creepy stalker will jump out and prove that it's not me. And They go along with this. They got their homeboy Miyama from the tennis club keeping watch. And I gotta say, Miyama, once we go into the future again, he might be the best character in this whole thing. What a fucking bro. I would like to think you and me would do the same for each other if such scenarios took place. But we'll get to that. But to tell me about this plan to walk around the park and how it went wrong. Because I felt like she uncharacteristically freaked out over nothing.
Yeah, so the idea is, it's whoever was trying to set him up, he knows somehow what Toru's trying to do about his time travel plan or whatever, so he's trying to kind of cut in on the action and sabotage him so that he can be the hero instead. And
when they're in the diner talking about him, we see a hooded man sitting like at the bar, so I guess he's just constantly stalking all of them.
Perhaps, but I don't know. We'll get into the discussion later on about a certain hooded man in the volume and what you might think about him, and that kind of. I'll give you my thoughts on that as well. I guess I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen too many hooded figures in Japanese media that, like, it's like if they put their hood up, they're immediately some kind of nefarious hoodlum, like, that's going to be doing something they're not supposed to. Like, nobody in Japan just wears a hoodie for no reason. Like, there's always got to be some negative connotation behind it, like they're always running from something or hiding from something.
Well, especially just in this story, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I doubt they were showing us a random guy wearing a hood in the background while they talk about the hooded stalker. But how did this walk around the park plan go wrong, Eggy?
Well, basically, as they're strolling around, he wants to apologize to Mika. You know, he's like, basically about the whole situation, like, oh, this is just so crazy that we even needed to do this, and that I'm making you do this. So let me just go ahead and apologize that I've kind of had to bring you into this when it's so silly. It should already just be known. But she does not feel that that's what his apology is all about. She's thinking that
now that we're alone in the dark and nobody else around, he's apologizing for being the stalker. Yeah. Like, well, this is a confession.
I think they're at, like, the maybe, like, towards, like, as far away from everybody as possible, because it's like a lap around this park, and it seems like the bend of it, or like the angling that's portrayed, would have it be like they're at, like, the furthest away from everybody possible, which might also lend into why this particular moment is so concerning for her. But it is uncharacteristic for sure, but I feel like also the fact of what she just went through earlier in the day was probably extremely freakish, freaking her out, and he's very nonchalant about it too, like, oh yeah, I'm sorry about how this all been going on, even though we know it's because he's very confident in himself that he has nothing to do with it. She's probably looking at this guy like, oh, this is some funny stuff when, you know, like, some guy's creep shotting me and, like, digging through my garbage and mailing it to me saying that he's gonna fuck me, take my virginity, and you're just thinking like, oh, this is funny stuff. And then maybe there's something to say about the fact that, you know, that's not concerning to him because, like, in his mind, it's like, well, duh. I mean, obviously, we're all trying to go back in time travel to fuck your pussy for the first time, so duh. Like, obviously, there's something.
Like, his best case scenario is that somebody who wants to harm her is about to pop out. Like, he's hoping to have the evidence that it's not him. Let's see, I'm scrolling to her mental breakdown because she's really just screaming all this nonsense at him. Here we go. He says, Mika, I'm sorry. And then just, you're sorry? Don't come near me. What are you apologizing about? That's really strange. You just apologized out of nowhere all of a sudden. If you were to apologize at such a time as now, you might as well be saying you're the culprit. Like, oh my god, bitch, calm down. I've some facial expressions from her that are, like, really unsettling compared to what we've seen before.
Yeah, like, she's just been typically so chill and calm, and I
don't know why he wants to be with her. This bitch is crazy. She screams, someone save me, and he's just standing there doing nothing.
Well, there's something, I guess, that comes to mind here that I haven't really brought up before, at least not in this episode, that in the future, yeah, he's got this complex or whatever, but also at the same time, I mean, she had to go through, who knows, let's say, one or two dozen, like, unsatisfying flings or whatever that just took up her time, wasted her time, money, energy, love, you know, broke her heart however many times. So even though we're seeing this really mainly from his perspective, which is sort of obsessive and insecure, like, if he could figure out a way that really could just perfect all of the negatives, which is probably not possible because this is life, you know, but if he could try and better the future for both of them, and if she suffers less heartbreaks as a result too, I mean, it's not completely self-serving for him either, but it's just, I don't know if we necessarily get a lot of that empathy on his behalf towards her. It's kind of his sort of written and drawn as, like, damn, I just need that pussy right now.
Right, yeah. He's still, like, thinking of his romantic partner as a prop in his life rather than it's her own entire human being. Yeah. Right. So she freaks out and runs away, and then a hooded figure appears in the bushes, and Toru is chasing after him. But meanwhile, a different hooded figure with what looks like a taser sneaks up behind Mika and, I guess, like, sexually assaults her or something horrible that is going to be remembered for the next 11 years. So there's two different hooded guys in this park. One of them attacks Mika. One of them runs away from Toru. And as Toru's chasing him, he gets hit by a car. And as he's like dying, he says to his friend, who's watching the whole time, but I guess didn't do a very good job watching. I forgot his name. Where was it? Miyama, or what was it?
I've just been calling him Tennis Man.
Yeah. Miyama from the tennis club. He's like, oh, he says to him as he's dying, oh, make sure Mika's okay. And that's how Miyama, in his heart, knows that Toru is not the assaulter here. But we go 11 years in the future, and Toru's like a homeless guy, like living in his friend's, a spare room. And he's lost his memory. And this is not something that usually happens when he's time traveling. And I thought, here's more convoluted bullshit. He literally can't even remember Mika or what's going on. It's not a good position for a reader, in my opinion, when I have all the information and the character just arbitrarily now does not. Like, what am I going to get out of this? Watching him rediscover things I already know?
So true. I want to say, there's a great panel here that's got this like upwards kind of angling into his neck stubble with like his glasses shearing. Reminded me of one of my favorite scenes from Welcome to the NHK, where Sato is been playing Final Fantasy 11 for like 30 years. He's level 10 million, and he's like shoving like an armful of potato chips into his mouth, and all you see is like crumbs like running down his neck beard. So remembering of a great time there. And also, of course, I see a dirty man with long balding hair waking up and having no memory of anything happening. All he can reach for is a can of alcohol. I mean, I thought that the character could not get more relatable, but little did I know what was about to happen.
Yeah, he can't remember anything about his past. Just like Eggy. But it turns out Miyama, he has dedicated his life to helping Toru regain his memories and prove his innocence in this horrible assault on Mika from 11 years earlier. And his wife, Miyama's wife, leaves him because he's so obsessed with helping his fat sexual assaulter friend prove his innocence. And it's just really, it's so sad and tragic. And why are the women in this series always so horrible? You're trying to help your friend? We're going to have to break up.
Well, I mean, it's true. But let's say if I don't know if I have the exact, it was like 3,800 and something like times he's came back, so we could presume approximately probably about 10 years or so, right?
They walk around the park together every single day to hopefully jog his memory of what actually happened that night.
So, I mean, to be fair, like if let's say if I put the shoe on the other foot, if my girlfriend all of a sudden said, oh, this is my friend, we need her, she's gonna have amnesia every single day for the next 10 years and sleep in this pile of garbage, and we need to like walk her around, I mean, maybe I could be rocking with that for a time, but I think eventually when I had to really get all of my affairs in order and all my cards in a row or whatever, that might possibly be just a little bit too much to have to accommodate after a few years of nothing happening.
You did a gender swap in your example, though. There's never going to be a situation where a woman is falsely accused of anything. They'll get away with everything they ever do. They're women, Eggy. The real scenario is you or me get accused of horrible rape, but we know the other guy didn't do it. You know that I'm sexually impotent and my cock can't even get hard, so how could I rape? But the judge didn't know that. So it'd be like if you stayed by my side and, I don't know, tried to prove I didn't do the raping, and then, if your woman didn't like that you were doing that, would you choose the woman or would you choose the side of justice and friendship?
Well, the 2 to 3 female listeners of this program, they probably don't get it maybe so much, but there is something about, as a man, there's an unbreakable honor that it's like it rests on your shoulders, it rests in your heart and soul. And so it really is the top priority, especially in this circumstance, just to be there. It's not like you're dedicating every minute of every waking minute. It's just something that we've been trying to, make as much progress as possible each day. So yeah, in the situation of me, you, any, bro and bro there's no doubt. I mean, it's got to be a given. That's just off the rip.
And people are especially sensitive about sexual assaults, so I'll take that off the table. But let's say Eggy was accused of murdering somebody. I'll say Eggy actually even did do it. I'm fine with that. I'd still be Eggy's friend. It's no big deal if he ended another human life. Yeah.
It's I mean, there's self-defense out there. I feel like I would have probably a good reason. Some days I feel like I wouldn't have a good reason, but I think
my friends don't need a good reason. Like, hey, if you're my friend, man, I'm sure you did what you did. Just don't do it to me. It's fine.
Riding with our boys, right or wrong, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We've all got that boy who killed somebody.
Ran over somebody after a slushy machine heist. It is what it is.
Hit somebody with their car and sped off because he was chasing after a guy wearing a hood. So, right. Homeboy Miyama's life has been ruined, and hopefully we could somehow find a way to fix that through time travel shenanigans, but not yet. Because Miyama, he's not done being the greatest bro of all time. It turns out there is a high school reunion, and Toru's like, okay, the actual stalker, he's got to be from one of these schools, because I saw him at the tennis club, whatever the hell. So I'm going to go there and try to find him, because I know he has a scar on his arm, because I ripped up his sleeve. So, Miyama, I keep forgetting his fucking name. Thank God I wrote it down. Miyama's like, he goes into like the security booth and knocks out the guard, and he's like watching all the security footage. So he's helping his friend commit crimes to prove his innocence. I don't know if this manga has a better character than that.
It also helps that Miyama, like, he was a cool dude when they were kids or whatever, but now he's like always with the all black shades. He's got like his natural blonde hair like all like puffed out, and he's got like a jet black beard for some reason. I don't know if usually beards, match your hair color necessarily. I know mine does, or whatever.
I think Mario from Super Mario had an issue with that at one point. I think he's like black hair and brown mustache, or vice versa.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I guess it probably could be naturally darker, but he's also constantly smoking cigarettes, and he just oozes with vibes. So
doesn't give a shit about his ex-wife. Well, actually, he kind of does, but still, he made the right choice. He's a good man. And it turns out, the guy with the suspicious scars is at this party, but Toru is a little bit distracted because the president of the tennis club, all these successful rich adults, he's there with his new wife, Mika. Uh-oh. Mika was supposed to end up with Toru no matter how many lifetimes she lived, but now she is not only with a rich and successful tennis president guy, but she seems happier than she's ever been. And Toru is just standing there dejected, horrified, and he's telling himself, she can be happy. All I have to do is say goodbye and leave her alone, and she'll just live this happy life with this other guy. But he can't bring himself to do it. And even though everybody thinks he assaulted her 11 years ago, and he's like on the lam or whatever the hell the case may be, he just stands there open-mouthed in front of everybody and says, I love you, Mika. And the crowd loses their shit and tries to tackle him. Just not the correct thing to do in that scenario.
Yeah, it's, I guess, in a way it could speak to his character in a positive sense, like, oh, it's just such a true love, and it wasn't just about that her holes are the goals, it was really that her heart is what'll get him his start.
But is that expression, if you love something, let it go? Is that true, Eggy? Because if I really love something, don't I want it in my life? Or do I have to acknowledge that anything that's involved with me in any way will suffer and be miserable because I'm a bad person, and if I truly love them, I should keep my distance?
I've to be honest, I've found myself on both sides of that coin. There has been times where I've chosen to kind of say, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, I know that, and it's tough because you absolutely can be a freak, but also at the same time, you could really be a loving and caring freak that, at the end of the day is going to have more love for this whoever it is or whatever the case might be than anybody else, despite your flaws. but it's still a gamble. Definitely is.
I can't think of anybody whose life has overall been better by being involved with me. I think exclusively it's been a detriment to every life I've ever interacted with.
I do know that feeling. That kind of. Who was I talking to? There was somebody that I was like, you know, I feel like sometimes I have like the handshake of death. Like if you're like, if I'm coming to like. If we're finding ourselves on a level that this is something that somebody should be concerned about, like, oh shit, like you're but at the same time,
what do you mean by handshake of death? If you shake somebody's hand, they die?
Well, it's just been like there's been times over the years. I don't know about so much. You know, like it probably been more in the internet era, perhaps. I can't. I mean, I was kind of had some standoffish moments in my younger years too, but it'd kind of be like. Once if I'm coming to like we find ourselves in familiar territory that may be a bad sign for whoever is finding themselves in my familiar territory, because I'm a man who has you know, ran some ruthless, some reckless kinds of ways in my life at some times, and I'm kind of not always been the best influence to the world, you know, so it's just what I've seen, like, you know.
You're like a human version of the Sonichu medallion, and if somebody's photographed wearing you, it's done. Something bad's gonna happen.
Downward thoughts, yeah, like kind of. So sometimes, like, oh hey, hey, that was cool that I got to meet so and so, and da da da. And then, like the next week, they're just like something terrible is happening to them, and they're like, oh my god, like my life is just on a complete downward spiral into total destruction.
Well, if I recall, you went to Moist Critical's house for a house party, and he just won the Entertainer of the Year at the Retard Awards, right? So maybe you're good luck to some people.
Yeah, there was just that other guy, the guy who like recorded the like G Fuel review video for what, even though I said it was a chick on Twitter the other day when I was drinking, which she was like, I think they were like standing together, but he was like some musician, and like his like numbers immediately like fell off a cliff. I don't know. That might have just been who knows. I don't really know these people like that. But it's probably just, you know, this internet stuff's so volatile. It's probably just a coincidence, you know, and never really had any real correlation. And maybe I'm feeling like Toru, you know, I'm kind of feeling like I'm walking in the room. You know, I'm larger and smellier and hairier than some other people, and not the most socially
obsessed with popping cherries. Yeah, we all know Eggy. He says, I hope every woman stays a virgin until 25 just so I can take their cherry. Which is the best version of a virginity fetish you could have.
Should I say something that I don't know if I've ever said this before? It might be in one old YouTube video, but just for the sake of, you know, if we want to talk about something that's a little interesting here, maybe relevant to the topic.
Well, if somebody's listened to this for 45 minutes, they deserve to hear Eggy's freshest take of all time.
Yeah, you know, I once, in the year of, I believe, 2015, I rejected a woman because she was a virgin.
So you said, I'm not dying for your virginity, is what you said.
That's right. Well, and the way that she was, I probably would have died, because she probably would have killed me in my sleep. So that was kind of part of it. Like, I was like, I feel like if this, and it's actually, you could say I did it a second time too, but it was in some different circumstances that second time. But the first time I was just like, yeah, I could see that you're like schizo. And you know, if I'm cracking, you know what I'm saying, if I'm breaking this bed through the stories, through the floors, through the windows, etc., I'm like, I would just feel like this could never end well, and it's gonna look badly on me. Like I'm gonna have to carry. This is not gonna be like some guys see it as a trophy. Like it's gonna be a mark of shame for me that this woman was like, she was like, I mean, she had a job and whatever. Like she was living her life. She was like 30 or whatever, bada bing, bada boom. And I was like,
on the attractiveness scale, was she more of a Mika or more of a Toru?
Mika in the face, Toru kind of build, I would say.
Okay, that's not so bad. Mika face.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, it was she was chill, but yeah, I think she would have killed me in my sleep. Yeah, there's a video about it. It was called like "Stalked by E-Girl" or something. It's in the Egg Wars archive somewhere. I think it's still online somewhere. But
and
yeah,
she's still watching to this day. She's a big fan.
I think. Well, see, I slept at her apartment or one time, and I think she went through all my stuff and like photographed where I live at.
Oh,
I think she was like, it's one of the few women that I saw ever in my life that actively like to drive around, so I think she would like drive by my front door and like look in the window and stuff. But many years ago, I haven't. It's just something to think about that.
Well, if she is still listening, I hope she knows she can pay us $100 to review anything she wants by emailing simianjimmybusiness@gmail.com. So if she wants to send us all of her nude photos of herself, I'm sure we could review those. That'd be fun.
No comment on that. However, hey, you know what? If she wants to tell her side of the story, she's probably still out there. I don't know. For all I know.
She's not invited on this show. We don't let women on our podcast, Eggy.
That's fair.
Anyway, after embarrassing himself in front of everybody and getting tackled at the high school reunion, he does see the hooded guy with, his arm. Their trick was they turned up the air conditioning to be really hot, and then everybody was taking off their coats so they could find out who has a scar on their arm. And Toru, he's pissed. He fucking Hulk mode, breaks everybody off of him, chases down the guy, and tackles him out of a 4th-story window, and they both seemingly are going to fall to their deaths, and Toru's like, "You picked the wrong guy to fuck with. I love dying. I've died 100 times, and I'll do it again." And thankfully they land in fucking Miyama just has like a truck, and the bed is full of, I guess, pillows, because they land in that, and they're just fine.
Yeah, that was I think it was a badass scene. Like it all still kind of progressed in an agreeable way, because it's going to give us some more of this progression through the story. But if he had just killed him like that still would have been badass too. I guess they kind of needed a little bit more like, oh, this might not be the guy actually, so we can't have him splatter. But
it turns out it's just another guy from the tennis club who, I mean, I don't know if he necessarily even did anything wrong. He's not the one who assaulted Mika, because he was running away from Toru when that was happening. And Toru's like, oh yeah, maybe we shouldn't like torture and kill this guy. I'm not too sure that he's actually the correct one. And then he goes to talk to his homeless friend who he saw earlier, and the homeless guy's like, oh yeah, I remember that night. Yeah, there was 2 hooded guys. Actually, one of them's right behind you. And we see who I assume is the actual main villain of the story, about to bash Toru's brains in with a bat. And that's how this volume ends. And maybe we won't get a read volume 4 for another 5 or 6 months, and I'll forget this great cliffhanger even happened.
I can at least appreciate that at this point I won't need to go back and reread it. Maybe more than I don't really even think I'll need to reread this volume. I think it kind of ties together well enough that some guy collected the wrappers, framed him. There's that thing goes down at the park. He gets chased, killed into a new reality where Miyama has been, like coaching him for the last 10 years at the detriment of his own life. And then we kind of get this situation here where the great reveal happens after the prom. I think all of this is a lot more digestible.
Straightforward storytelling for once.
Yeah. So that'll be nice, at least that, and I've spent 2 hours rereading everything.
Do I still think that this hooded figure is a future Toru trying to prevent even himself from having sex?
Well, there's 2 things. There's a panel in the park right before he gets hit, where we see this particular guy approaching Mika with the taser, looks like, and then it's also the same guy who is coming up behind Toru in this timeline with the baseball bat. And it appears to be the same guy because they have this very defined feature with this strange nose. So it looks almost like some kind of mask, and I feel like it's hard to say that even with the sculpting of the mask, would Toru's head and face shape at his, with his skull shape and his weight, would it even be able to fit the mask? I can tell you, not to spoil the other podcast we're doing today, I get to see a return of one of my heroes that inspired me to buy a mask, and the mask does not fit around my quadruple chin. So,
oh, Jesus Burgess.
Yeah, maybe I'll bust it out anyway, but damn, it was hard to.
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it might be a mask. It kind of looks like something from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure now that I really look at this hooded figure. But yeah, his torso is a little bit slim compared to Toru, so maybe it's not him unless he did hit the gym.
Perhaps also, here's a thought, 3,821, now I had it here, the number of times that they've walked in the park to try to jog Toru's memory about what happened. I'm thinking, could it be maybe after a certain amount of like timeline disruptions, maybe it could end up causing like some kind of damage to a person's existence, like your soul or something is being torn apart in like a temporal rift. This mask is this like some kind of like Phantom of the Opera type stuff, like, oh, in this timeline, this, or like in one of the final timelines, the final timelines that I'm trying to prevent right now at the end of this crazy maelstrom of different events, maybe something happens that is very disfiguring, and it can only be stopped by stopping Toru in the earlier times here. Just kind of a thought, maybe, that is, not even so much for a disguise, but just like a necessity.
Would that mean this guy has secretly good motivations and intentions in trying to screw over Toru and frame him as a creep? He's like trying to prevent something really bad from happening?
As much as I love Toru, and I really, can see where he's coming from, even as a despicable fat bastard. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a despicable fat bastard. He's an old virgin who, if we want to talk on some, hashtag black pill philosophy, in the grand scheme of things, it might possibly be that he's just hasn't done a lot of great things for the world. Maybe if his existence, if it's an overall impediment to something greater, it might possibly be a benefit that if there would be a man coming back to try and get rid of him, maybe it would be for an overall greater purpose. And maybe, I don't know, I can't say for sure. But
the man is future Mika trying to save herself from this fat fuck. Anything's possible.
Yeah, it's
I thought that somebody in the previous comment section spoiled us, but now that I look at it again, I think they only spoiled this volume, Eggy. Very strange. 3 months ago from Ellie Sucks, it says, I have not finished the video, but this manga gets insane. The main girl goes crazy. In one alternate universe, he becomes homeless and her stalker. His detective friend divorces his wife because of his, loyalty. She marries a rich guy. Then the Chad bad guy who had, a shrine of her, and the loser pervert getting blackmailed by the Chad frames the main character. Is that just a summary of what we read today?
Yeah, I would say that's a good summary, in fact, yeah.
Why would you spoil just the next volume and not the entire thing? I don't know. Twitch Sebastian on that last episode, who paid for this all, he said, this is some good fucking food. So I hope he feels the same way about volume 3.
I mean, I think I probably said, after the first volume, I was like, oh, this is good, I want to keep tearing into this. Got a little bit, like I said, a little stickier volume 2. Maybe I wasn't feeling quite so much, but I feel like it's got me back with this volume. And
this is the best volume, I think. I genuinely enjoyed reading this one. And one last comment I want to bring in, even though he's probably not going to hear it. Golden Goblin said, Jimmy, Eggy, I leave for the Navy on August 5th. You guys are my favorite thing to watch. Watched every Is It Kino and all content in the Mumkeyverse. I know all Rusty songs by heart. See you guys later. Well, Golden Goblin, if you ever come back alive from the military and binge everything, we miss you.
That's right. You're not just golden as a goblin, you're golden in our hearts. And we would die for your first upvote.
And folks, if you're thinking, man, I love hearing Mumkey and Eggy talk about volumes of manga, guess what? We have a whole channel where we do that every week. I don't know why this random series nobody's ever heard of. We've done 2 episodes and each one gets almost 2,000 views, but then we do One Piece every week and we're lucky to get 300 views an episode. Folks, One Piece is much better than this. Go to the Mumkey D. Jones YouTube channel and catch up, or tune in. Me and Eggy reading all of One Piece, volume by volume.
This is just, just to give you a special reason here. This should be for I'll do it for the episode today too, but I was just at Lottie Mart in Orlando, Florida, and I got one of their special, cookie packs with special One Piece stickers in here, and I pulled a Sanji holographic shiny. This is like a 99% common, and it still looks super dank, so yeah, it's cool. Maybe one of you who is not currently subscribed can go to the latest video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button on Mumkey D. Jones on the One Piece Virgin Book Club. Maybe I'll send this to you as a special gift. So
hundreds of hours of content waiting for you. I know your life is pathetic and sad if you just listen to this for an hour. I know damn well you don't read this manga. So you don't even need to read One Piece. Just listen to us talk about it for you. Eggy, anything you want to plug other than simianjimmybusiness@gmail.com, where anybody can choose what we review next?
Well, I think I've probably said in the last couple videos, make sure to go subscribe to One Egg White on the YouTube channel. And I don't think I've streamed in the last 2 weeks, but I'm going to. They just tried to take away one of my features, but they gave it back to me. It was like, oh yeah, I lost like multiple live streams or something, whatever. They knocked me down a feature thing. I got back in there. I lost one of my donation things, got one back. We're gonna be chugging through a lot of Kino on that thing. We're gaming, we're rocking out, having a good time. Somebody just left me a comment today that said, unironically, Eggy is one of the top 5 rappers in human history. So you can come drop a super chat and I'll rap whatever you want.
Why did they have to say unironically? I think it goes without saying. I can't think of 4 rappers better than you.
Sometimes I'm rapping about Boogie 2988 and eating mayo, like in the song Boogie Me Down. Some people might take that as a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it's real. Oh, it's real.
I thought it was Boogie 1488.
On Twitter, @2EggWhite, I just posted a great picture today of myself at Barnes & Noble. And you know what? It's I think you'll agree that you should go smash like on it and retweet it because it's some good stuff.
We need a follow-up from something that happened in the Carlitos Way episode that came out publicly this morning, Eggy.
Okay.
CK says, Mumkey in the Big 25 wanting beef with rappers he doesn't even know for no reason is supremely entertaining to me. Now, has Young Thug responded to me saying he has no creativity in his whole body?
I don't think I've heard anything about him since the last time that we... Like I said, he can't rap about killing anymore or drugs or sex.
So basically, he's afraid of me is what you're saying. Like, he heard me call him out. He knew I was right on every count, and he has nothing to say, so he's just hiding.
That's right. Well, actually, you know what? I did see something from 21 Savage today, which was he got caught up kind of in the fling of things. Let me see if he said something about, like, Atlanta is a city for pedophiles, and that's where Young Thug is from. So he's like, I don't know what that was all about. Let me see if I got the quote here. I thought I just saw it on my my rap feed today.
I think Tyler Perry is in Atlanta as well. It's like the black version of Hollywood, so maybe it is full of pedophiles.
So he says, actually, to clarify, Atlanta be Diddy-fied.
Yeah.
He says. So there's a new 21, so I don't know, maybe I gotta listen
Tyler
to the
Perry's raping all the white men on his crew, so it is very Diddy over there. So shout out Young Thug, or whatever is the Little Thug, Young Thug. Get a more creative name, or else I'm gonna keep making fun of you.
That's right. You know, with the diss track's coming soon, I'm not against it at all. I know just how to, I know I could get in my 101 mode, you know what I'm saying? Yerkio. Boom, boom,
Young Thug, you make me shrug. There we go. He's done. Hey, we're 3 volumes into the 7-volume series. Do we think that Twitch Zabazian is really going to make us read the rest of this over the next 2 or 3 years, Eggy? Because I hope he does. I'm certainly not doing it for free.
Well, you know what? Even if it's just a beautiful, Christmas birthday special in December every month, I'll probably just keep resembling Toru more and more with every passing year. So, why not fit those shoes? That's right. Get that Kino in my life.
We're all just a Toru looking for our Mika when really we need a Miyama.
True.
Peace, people.